So why would someone think that the St. Croix sheep breed, that they are the most profitable sheep breed that you can raise? So let's talk about the lower inputs required to raise St. Croix sheep. First of all, St. Croix sheep are meant to be raised on grass, so you don't need to buy a lot of expensive feed with St. Croix sheep. The second reason is St. Croix can easily lamb outside by themselves, even in the winter, so they don't require a barn. At least in Tennessee. Now, if you're in Montana, you might need to have a barn, but in Tennessee in the southeast, you don't need a barn to raise St. Croix sheep. They lamb outside fine in the winter. Another input you don't need is dewormers. St. Croix sheep are 100% parasite resistant, and you'll never have to buy dewormers to raise St. Croix sheep. And since you don't have to deworm them, you also don't have to drench them for worms. You don't have to do FAMACHA test, and you don't have to do that horrible fecal egg count garbage. And they are hair sheep, so you never have to shear them. And a lot of people make the mistake of not counting their own time as being an input. When you spend a lot of time fooling with these sheep, you're not going to make as much profit because you could be working on something else and making more profit in another area and then just selling the sheep when you want to. So your time spent on the sheep is a great input, and there's very little time spent on St. Croix sheep. The only thing I need to do is to feed my sheep dogs and keep my fences up. And that's all the inputs I have to have for raising St. Croix sheep. Just put some scraps in the dog food bowl and that's it. I'm done for the day. So let's talk about how St. Croix sheep can bring 2 to 3 times more profit than any other sheep breed. And that's really on the low side if you do it this way. First of all, I'm going to tell you what not to do. Never, ever, ever sell your St. Croix sheep at a sale barn or to a commercial buyer. They won't give you what they're worth, and you're just going to lose out. Not only that, you got to pay sale barn commissions, and really only the middlemen, and there's a lot of them, they're the ones that actually make money, and they're making it off you. You don't want to do it that way. And here's what they're going to give you. Like for a 100-pound animal that's a choice or prime 2 or 3, they're going to give you like $3.21 a pound. Now, the way you read this chart, it's per the hundredweight. So the average price of $320.84 is actually $3.20, and you round the 84 up to a penny. So it's $3.21 a pound. So a 100-pound animal will bring $321. And this choice and prime 2 to 3 classification, that's not going to be a St. Croix. That's going to be a Dorper because Dorpers just have a lot more meat on them as an animal. And Dorpers will rank higher in the classification system or sheep grading system for the USDA. So when you bring your St. Croix sheep in, they're going to rate it as like a good or choice. And they're going to give you $195 or $1.95 a pound. They're going to give you a lot less than a Dorper unless you've got a really good St. Croix. And that's one of the problems you're going to run into. Because the grading system for the USDA and for all these sale barns is based on how the animal looks on the outside. It's not based on, was it grass-fed? Did you pump it full of grain and pellets? Or did you use all kinds of chemical dewormers? Did you pump it full of antibiotics? The only thing they grade the animal on is how it looks on the outside. It has nothing to do with the quality of the animal or how it's going to taste or whether it's even healthy for you. And so all the sheep that come through these sale barns or are purchased by commercial buyers in these sale barns, they're all headed to some grocery store shelf, which is the same kind of garbage you could buy, right there in the grocery store yourself. You wouldn't have to grow it yourself. This is what everybody gets. What you have when you raise St. Croix sheep is something very special, and that is you can have these sheep certified 100% USDA organic. These other sheep breeds that you're competing against that are grown in Tennessee or other places with high levels of humidity, they depend on these dewormers to live. And since chemical dewormers are on the prohibited list of substances that allow you to be organically certified, they can never, ever get their USDA organic certification if they're using these dewormers. So the sale barn is the only place your competitors can sell their sheep, while you have other options. This is why St. Croix sheep are an absolute gold mine if you can sell to an organic market. So how much can you sell St. Croix sheep per pound on the organic market? Here's a place near me called Farmer's Storehouse, and they're selling holistic meat. It's grass-fed, no mRNA, no vaccinations, no fluoride in the water, no grain finishing. All these check boxes I qualify for. If I get my organic certification, they're not even asking for that. They just want to make sure I'm not poisoning the meat. And for just 10 pounds of this pasture-raised ground lamb, they're charging $150 for 10 pounds. So out of a 100-pound lamb, if you get back 40 or 50 pounds, it's going to bring back about $600 to $750. So that comes out to $6 or $7.50 a pound for a 100-pound lamb. And $6 to $7.50 a pound, that makes your $3.21 or $1.95 a pound back at the sale barn look pretty ridiculous, doesn't it? This is Honeybrook Farm. They're selling ground lamb, and their ground lamb is going for $17.99 a pound or $18 a pound, which is like $8 or $9 a pound on the hoof. This is True Beef Organic out of California, and notice that they're selling 100% organic Dorper lamb. And apparently it's dry enough in California that you can grow Dorper without chemicals, and I'm all for that. That's great. And they are having a sale. They've lowered their price down to only $351.35 for 19.25 pounds of ground lamb, organic lamb, which comes out to $18.25 a pound. Now this is the market that every St. Croix sheep owner needs to address. And you don't have to go through these stores to sell. You can sell direct. All you need is a website or a Facebook page and build up a clientele. You don't need that many people, 10, 15 people, and you'll be done. Now there's two ways you can do this. One is you can sell through a CSA or Community Shares Association, and that'll work. It gets a little complicated sometimes. But the way I'm going to do it is to advertise on Craigslist or LSN as organic lamb, and that I will take the animal to the processor for them, and they can either pick it up there or I can pick it up. But I'm going to sell them the lamb on the front end, and then I'm going to take it to the processor, so it's no longer my lamb. I'm just offering a service, and that way, when it gets processed and picked up, it's not really being sold for resale. So that gets around a lot of the regulations because the lamb's already been sold to the customer and the sale's already happened. It's not being resold. And I'm going to go ahead and get my USDA organic certification. I finally decided to do that. It's going to cost a little bit of money on the front end and some time and work, and I have to get inspected all the time, but it's going to be worth it because that'll give me the credibility to charge these higher prices for what I produce. It also knocks all my competition out of the water. They can't compete with me because they can't become USDA organically certified. The other thing with St. Croix sheep is that I can process my culls. Whatever animals that are getting too old to use, I've done this before and eaten them, and I can't tell the difference between an older animal that's ground up into meat than I can a younger animal. Because St. Croix doesn't have any lanolin in the hide, and so therefore these older animals, they taste great to me. So I may offer a mature animal rate, say instead of like $15 or $18 a pound, I may only charge like $10. That's still going to come out way ahead of the sale barn. And I could sell my culls, which is something I couldn't do with any other sheep breed. I could sell the culls and get profit out of them just like anything else. So I'll get 100% utilization. Well, I hope this gave you some good ideas about the St. Croix sheep breed, and have a great day.